spread COVID like wildfire. Unfortunately, I hope the Amish have been somewhat protected from that.
And while there may be concerns about potential religious barriers in the Amish community, Cheatham says that some groups do tend to be receptive to medical care. Meantime, he adds that they are most concerned with the general public accepting a vaccine that's so new, even with its promising trials.
And the consensus around prevention that used to be there in the United States is not there. And so in everything that we're doing now, we're running into the challenge of people not trusting the science or not feeling that prevention is an activity that the government should be involved in.
That was Arianna Satowski reporting. Cheatham says they expect to be able to vaccinate healthcare workers and people in long-term care facilities starting in January and move into phase 2 distributions for the high-risk population by February.
Let's shift gears now and talk a little bit of weather. Really, there's not a whole lot to talk about. We've had the same song and dance type of a forecast the last several days, and we're going to keep that going into tomorrow as well. Now, we have been trending a little bit cooler over the past 24 hours. That is in Grand Rapids. Got to correct myself because Kalamazoo, with some better sunshine than GR today, did make it to 48 degrees. But we're going to be on a bit of a slide into the upcoming weekend. There will be no, though, accumulating snow accompanying those cooler temperatures. 38 degrees right now in GR. You know, we got down to 33 just a couple hours ago. Skies cleared out briefly, but new clouds have arrived on the scene. We'll talk about that and what that means for the overnight in just a bit. Grand Rapids at 41 this afternoon, but look what I was talking about. Kalamazoo 48, Battle Creek 47. How is that even possible? Kalamazoo's only 45 minutes away. Well, that's because there were a lot more clouds here. The southern extent of this cloud bank kind of did break up a bit more so. There were some clouds in Kalamazoo today, but fewer and better hours of sunshine in that vicinity of the viewing area. These are the numbers right now. We've got this new area of clouds arriving from the northwest, so keeping those temperatures elevated just a bit along with this southwest breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Look along the lakeshore, though. G24, what does that mean? It means gusting to 24, gusting to almost 30 in Holland, so very brisk and with some waves around 5 to 6 feet still along the shoreline. Those waves will come down now through the day on Friday and will go quite light, it looks like, for Saturday and Sunday, as the winds will be light all weekend long, even inland as well as the lakeshore. Now, all these arrows, what does this mean? Well, the jet stream is kind of branching off, one piece of it coming in this odd direction, then down towards the Gulf Coast. Then another little piece that's taking over more so is working its way from northwest to southeast, and that'll be guiding in these weak weather disturbances over the next several days. One of those passing to our north at the moment, out ahead of a cold front that will come through later tomorrow morning. So any of these flurries, they'll be bypassing our West Michigan viewing area. No accumulations expected into tomorrow morning, though there could be a flurry or two. I can't rule that out even into Grand Rapids throughout the day on Friday. It's going to be a mostly cloudy. Last day of the work week, temperatures will start off in the mid-30s, so we're really not going to go anywhere overnight. We're not going to go much tomorrow afternoon, though, either. So a daytime high right around 40, maybe 41 degrees. Could there be a break or two for sun? Certainly that's possible, but overall, Derek, a mostly cloudy Friday, right around 40 degrees, and much of the same over the weekend. Fair amount of clouds, could be a few breaks for sun. Temperatures, though, they'll be chillier. We'll talk about that and see if there's any change in the pattern. I mean, where's the snow, Derek? We're looking for it. You don't necessarily want it, but some people do. We'll get to it coming up.
Don't look too hard, Anthony. Thank you for that. Police in Kalamazoo asking for help in tracking down this missing 17-year-old ARIANNA Smith. First reported missing back on September 15th, but we're told family was in contact with her up until Thanksgiving, of course, 1 week ago today. They have not heard from her since, however. ARIANNA, 5'8", 115 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, you're asked to call KDPS or Silent Observer. Two-car crash in Kalamazoo sent the driver to the hospital with injuries. One of the drivers, it happened around noon at the intersection of South Westnedge and West Lovell Street. First responders arrived and found one of those drivers unconscious at the scene, pinned inside their vehicle. We're told their injuries are serious, but the driver is expected to recover. The other driver was not hurt. That crash is still under investigation. 3 people in custody. Meanwhile, following a standoff in Allegan County this morning, it started around 5 a.m. near 135th Avenue and 14th Street in Hopkins Township. Now, we're told the suspects were parked in a driveway at a vacant lot in the area before robbing 2 others at gunpoint. All 3 later arrested at 2 separate homes in Hopkins Township and Hopkins Village. Names and charges, however, have not yet been released. In a year that's been so tough on so many, Meijer Stores has launched a new holiday meal program for its workers that's spreading generosity, you might say threefold, in every community where it has a store distribution center.
Over the 20 years he's been running his farm-to-table restaurant, Timothy Sizer has also been a regular at the Stevensville Meijer store for his business.
They always go out of their way just to help me when I need help as far as picking out the freshest stuff.
But the help they just gave him this holiday season is more than just top shelf produce.
Any work that's given to us is a huge bonus.
Timothy's is just one of the many restaurants that Meijer is supporting over the next month.
We've always fed our team members on different times of the year, but this is the first time we really went out and sought out local restaurants.
Nearly 300 Meijer stores and distribution centers serving every team member a holiday meal catered by a local restaurant once a week for 4 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
You know, it's trying times for a lot of people, and not only for the customers that come into our store, but of course our team members that are on the front lines.
Over 1,000 holiday meal events totaling more than 250,000 individual meals from the various community restaurants like Timothy's in Union Pier, allowing him to bring back some of his furloughed workers.
We delivered, sometimes it was between 125 to 250 meals. Last week we did a Asian Hawaiian chicken that they like over fried rice that the workers really seem to like.
A way for us to say thank you for working out here each and every day.
You might call this a win-win-win.
He's getting the sales in his restaurant. His people are working. Our team is certainly enjoying the great food.
For Meijer's to do that, every time they do that, that adds, another day's pay for 2 or 3 of my workers, and that's a huge deal. It might not sound like a lot to some people, but it is to us. We greatly appreciate it.
Now, Timothy's has seen its business and workforce reduced by about 80% this year due to the pandemic. But some more good news, they also recently catered another holiday meal to Meijer's Benton Harbor store as well. Quite generous indeed. Well, a team effort bringing much needed support to cancer patients here in West Michigan.
I can just collect a few items for her for the whole year. That's what I want to do.
The story behind the partnership and how you can get involved still to come tonight. And the prolonged fight against the virus taking its toll on a lot of gym owners here in West Michigan. The steps they are taking to survive until spring.
I want to get back to normal. I want to travel again. I want to do things that I used to do.
A West Michigan teacher volunteering to push the race for a vaccine forward. The steps he has taken and why. And a reminder, you can always get more news and weather from Fox 17 by downloading our app on your streaming device like Fire TV and Roku. We'll be right back. Well, local body shop is once again launching a donation drive collecting items to help cancer patients here in West Michigan. Fox 17's Janice Allen joining us live now to explain how you can help. Janice?
Right. Derek, for the second year in a row, Pro Collision in Walker is teaming up to help one of our former paid-forward persons of the month and her operation called the Jay's Chemo Bags. Jessica Wirch collects various items like hats, cards, and puzzles to create chemo care bags. They're given out at Lax Cancer Center, where her mother works as a surgical tech. They're designed to bring comfort and help keep the patients busy as they undergo treatment. As we mentioned, Pro Collision has launched a donation drive this month to bring in a lot of items to help fill those bags. Last year, they say the response was overwhelming, so they wanted to do it again.
I always see that she needs stuff. So for me, it was kind of hit close to home, something that she does is amazing. So if I can just collect a few items for her for the whole year, that's what I want to do.
I was like, that's awesome. Like, this is really going to help, but I didn't realize how much it really was going to help. Like, it gave me supplies for the whole year. Like, I had lotion for the whole year. I'm like, just running out. So it's like, and she said she'll do it again. I'm like, yay, thank you, because I need it. I need a little bit more.
And they're taking donations from now up until Christmas Eve. They're asking for things like hats, crossword puzzles, cards, hats and gloves. They ask that you drop those off during business hours. For the full list and more on this story, just head to our website and our mobile app. Derek, back to you.
Thank you, Janice, for that. A yearly labor of love and lights, meanwhile, bringing some much-needed comedy to Allendale. Ryan Dornbos and his brother put in about 40 hours to program these lights and sound effects and another 3 months to get it all up and running, all for a 4-minute show to entertain you. But Ryan didn't just want to stop with his own house. He got his neighbor involved as well, making it a dueling light show. Check it out.
I guess if you say we're kind of famous in Allendale at the moment. But yeah, it was just comical, you know, just the little bit that we can do. And this year, 2020, as awful as it was, I think that's why it got as big as it did, I feel. Everybody's looking for that little comedic relief.
Indeed, you can find the display and the response near where 92nd Avenue, Warner Street, and Bass Drive all meets in Allendale. Check that out. You gotta love it. Still ahead tonight, gyms and fitness centers all across our state continuing to adjust to the state's current health orders.
It's been a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of ups and downs, roller coaster.
Yeah, how the daily method in Easttown is now getting by.
Just a touch of sunshine this morning in Grand Rapids, and then the clouds came in. They stuck around through the day thereafter. I think what you're seeing on this particular shot from Ron Topping that he sent in a few hours ago is what you're going to notice tomorrow. But what about Saturday and Sunday, the weekend? All important forecast. You're going to want to stick around. I've got it coming up.
Well, the first doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine arrived in the UK today. The vaccine's being transported from the company's factory in Belgium. The UK approved the emergency usage just yesterday. Immunization's expected to begin there next week with 40 million doses. 20 million people will be able to get vaccinated because each person, of course, requires 2 shots with Pfizer's. Meantime, the FDA will meet 1 week from today to consider the emergency usage of Pfizer's vaccine here in the U.S. as well. One local business owner, meanwhile, keeping a close eye on our state's orders. She runs a fitness studio and says they've been abiding by them to the T. But this latest round has been quite hard. Lauren Edwards explains.
Absolutely love it. It's my favorite place. It's like my second home.
But lately, Jamie Santilli's studio, The Daily Method in Easttown, has been looking a little empty.
So it's definitely been a struggle. I mean, from the beginning with the shutdown, we immediately tried to pivot to keep the business going.
Moving part of their classes outdoors for the summer months, but lately they've been inside, abiding by the state's orders.
Now, with the current order, have opened up the studio to where people can come in and use their headphones, and we record a class ahead of time that they could watch, and the bikes are set up 12 feet apart.
She says safety is their top priority. 7 people are allowed inside between both rooms. She says everyone's been flexible, adapting to the changes, but emotionally, it's been hard.
It's been a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of ups and downs, roller coaster. A lot of anxiety because you have the same expenses.
Especially when there's major fitness chains that are allowed to remain open.
It's hard to see that when I know that bigger box gyms, I can have more people in. And we have been following the orders to a T. We wear masks 100% of the time.
And they'll continue to do so, even if the orders are extended.
I want to make sure that we always follow those orders to help reduce this and move us forward just as a nation and as a world, basically.
Well, Santilli says that's the goal, slowing the spread of the virus, of course. And if you'd like to be a part of their classes, remember, it is all virtual right now. You can find more information right now on our Fox 17 News app. A teacher, meanwhile, thinking about his students when he signed up for the coronavirus vaccine trial.
I was like, I know it's a 50-50 shot, and I don't know what I got.
Yeah, his experience as a trial participant and how he's hoping he can use his experience to help boost his students' morale.
Derek, it's been pretty mild lately, as you know, going back a number of weeks. So, I mean, we got to be turning the corner soon, right? Going into Arctic air and the snow around here. Well, not so fast. This from the Climate Prediction Center over the next couple of weeks. Still, no big outlook for real cold air. We will look for a snow system or two in the forecast right after the break.
Well, court has ordered Kyle Rittenhouse, to stand trial in the shooting death of 2 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin from this summer. Rittenhouse charged with opening fire on protesters rallying against police brutality back in August. His attorney asked the court to dismiss 2 of the 6 charges he's facing, but the court refused, saying the state found probable cause the felonies were committed. Rittenhouse's attorneys previously claimed there is evidence that the teen acted in self-defense. He's scheduled to be back in court for his arraignment on January 5th. Meanwhile, in the nation's capital, unemployed workers gathered outside of the White House to protest tonight. The group called Unemployed Action, calling on leaders to roll out another COVID-19 stimulus package. Protesters used props and costumes to demand lawmakers provide unemployment insurance extensions, eviction moratoriums, relief for immigrants, and support for small businesses. Tests for another COVID-19 vaccine happening right here in West Michigan, and now we're hearing from one man who's participating. He hopes the small sacrifices he and thousands of others are making will make a big difference in the long run. Sarah Grimmer explains.
I'm going to be really honest, I was hoping so badly for the real vaccine. I was like, I know it's a 50-50 shot and I don't know what I got.
Today, Eric Hudson still doesn't know what he got when he signed up to be a guinea pig for phase 3 of Janssen's COVID-19 vaccine trials.
I mean, it's like any other shot, right? Like, it just feels like a shot. You're like, oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Nothing happened.
He's one of about 60,000 participants who got a shot. Some of the top people on Hudson's mind as that needle approached his arm, his students at East Kentwood.
I mean, I just asked my students a couple days ago, like, my attendance question was, how are you doing really? Like, tell me how you're actually doing. I had a bunch of kids who were like, this is tough. Like, mentally, this is hard to do.
So in hopes of helping his students' mental health, Hudson is putting his physical health on the line. His volunteer experience started with a long day of medical testing at Sherry Health.
They warned me it's going to be a 6.5-hour day, which I was blown away by that. I was like, 6.5 hours. Wow, you guys are thorough.
Those hours lead up to either getting the vaccine or a placebo shot. Now, 2 weeks later, Hudson is feeling healthy at home, tasked only with logging his symptoms on an app for the next 2 years.
So, like, a symptom check is literally, have you experienced any new symptoms or health concerns? And you're like, no, I have not. Click next, done. So this is what I have to do twice a week.
Dr. Rick Nettles with Janssen Infectious Diseases says this easy step, done by participants with the vaccine and without, will show if the medicine works.
Really, the intent of doing it in a randomized, blinded way and enrolling a lot of individuals is that you control for all the different factors. So at the end of the day, the exposure between the two groups is the same and the characteristics of the two groups are the same. So if you see a lot of the infections happening in the placebo arm and not in the active arm, that's really your signal that the vaccine might be working.
Hudson certainly hopes it works. He hopes it works for the sake of his students, his family, for the sake of that one thing we all miss so much, normalcy.
I want to get back to normal. I want to travel again. I want to do things that I used to do. And I feel like this is probably our best bet to getting that done.
Reporting in Grand Rapids, Sarah Grimmer for Fox 17 News.
Yeah, and we expect to learn just how effective Janssen's vaccine is in the coming weeks. The company hopes to submit its vaccine to the FDA for approval by the end of the month or maybe early next year.
Okay, forecast time now. Let's go on a search for some snow flurries, for some snow showers. Maybe some of you out there don't want to do that. Some of us do, though. You know, there's a lot of folks that like winter around Michigan, and they want it to come in sooner than later. Not really happening that way thus far. We should have already picked up about 8.6 inches of snow. If we were right on track with climatology, we've gotten 0.4 inches, which, as I mentioned yesterday, when you get that small of an amount, it just basically disappears when it hits the ground. So we might as well have had nothing at all. And I don't see much coming here overnight tonight. We'll talk about the pattern going forward here in just a moment. More clouds for Friday. That doesn't mean that we can't see a break or two for sun, sort of like we had this morning in GR, sort of like we had for a number of hours in Kalamazoo today. But overall, I think if you had to pick a sky condition, you'd go with mostly cloudy for tomorrow. Colder weekend up ahead. After a high of 40 or 41 tomorrow, will be more like, say, 37 to 38 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. There could be a few flurries along the lakeshore on Saturday, lake effect variety. Nothing substantial, though. And then on Sunday, later in the day, maybe a disturbance can produce some scattered flurries or a snow shower for a few folks within the viewing area. I'll talk about that particular system in a moment, but that also will be pretty weak. Got a milder pattern trying to build back in next week, folks. So if you're looking for a system that would produce, say, like a 2 to 4 inch snow or a 3 to 6 inch snow or something bigger than that, you got to have daytime highs that are probably going to be at the highest 34 degrees, more likely closer to 30 degrees or the upper 20s. You don't see any of that. In fact, we're bounding back into the upper 40s. Could, in fact, hit 50 degrees if the pattern really shakes out favorably for warmer temperatures later next week. So we'll see how that goes. Relatively cool, I would say, across the nation, at least as far as the depth, the far south nature of the chilly air. Kind of interesting. We've got some 20s showing up and 30s down into Texas, but northward, you might presume if it's that cold that far south, it's got to be really cold in the northern states. Not the case, though, because the reservoir of air that we're tapping from in northern Canada just isn't that cold. I mean, look at this. We're 20s and 30s here. That's because the jet stream has been plowing in just south of Alaska, coming into the Yukon Territory and the Northwest Territories here, then diving southward. So a lot of ridging and Pacific air coming in. Then when we tap that air, bring it southward, it's just not that cold. So this is what we've got closer to home, from White Cloud to Big Rapids. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, 39 now in GR. We got down to 33 a few hours ago, but with the additional clouds coming back in and also these winds that are maintaining at about 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the west-southwest, we are mixing the atmosphere favorably to keep the numbers up just a bit. Keep in mind our high today was only 41 degrees, so 39 not too bad with all these hours of darkness behind us at this point. Wind chills right around 30 degrees. Let's go to the Friday planner. You wake up tomorrow morning, say 35, 36 degrees. We get to about 40 or 41 by early afternoon, then start to settle back a degree or two by late day. Again, mostly cloudy skies. Could there be an interval where the sun does pop out? A couple intervals, certainly possible, but any flurries, we had talked about overnight tonight, there could be some flurries north of GR. Still a possibility. Tomorrow morning there could be a flurry or two in GR. Nothing substantial. Even the afternoon could see a flurry. Nothing will be accumulating. We got part of the jet stream coming from northwest to southeast. Another part branching off and going in that odd westerly direction and guiding this system down along the Gulf Coast. That'll come up the east coast into the weekend as a pretty strong system, but won't affect us. The jet stream off into Canada, there it is, as I was describing before, bringing ridging and mild air for the season into a big chunk of Canada, and that's affecting us in terms of not really allowing us much of an opportunity to get really Arctic around the Midwest. Watch this model RPM. It does have some clouds overnight tonight and into tomorrow, so mostly cloudy Friday, maybe a flurry here or there. That jet stream that is wavy off into Canada, it will guide a couple disturbances down in here. The next one, I think, on Sunday, Derek, could be late day into the evening, maybe a flurry or snow shower. Can't rule that out, but nothing significant. And then there comes that little bit of a warm-up. Could be mid to upper 40s by Wednesday.
Breaking